The Washington Commanders will trade for Cincinnati Bengals superstar pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. Let's talk about it.
Shout out to Juan Gotti Talking Sports. You know what it is.
Shout out Juan Gotti Talking Sports.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career, and he's already milking injuries? Like,
Stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, and Shawty is the winner. You can tell that Shawty love again now. She's confident.
Yesterday, it came out that the Cincinnati Bengals are listening to trade offers for superstar pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. And as you guys know, I've been all over this for months now.
It's seeming like we need to make a move, at least try, see what's up. And I ain't gonna lie, the last couple of times that I've been talking about Washington signing and trading for some players, I hit it on the head. So maybe I'm the good luck charm.
And I felt like Washington was going to be a team in the running for Trey Hendrickson at some point. Now, where is this coming from? You know I'm never going to lie to y'all. I don't have no inside source at Washington, Commanders, Pop, Ashburn, nothing. This is straight fan thinking, right? This is straight just my wisdom and what I think and how I think. I know a little bit of ball. I'm not the most smartest person in the books when it comes to football. I don't know everything, but I know enough to where I could feel like I can make this kind of prediction or projection. So the biggest reason why I feel like Trey Hendrickson is going to become a Washington Commander is because looking at the Washington Commanders pass rush, that is one of the biggest weaknesses on this team. And yes, we recently went out and signed Von Miller, but he is 36 and he is a situational pass rusher. He's not someone that you expect to come in and play every down, just in games and plays where you need him to rush and get a key stop and strip sack in the big moment. That's where he's at the stage of his career, not an every down edge rusher. And you look at the rest of the room, it's filled with Dorrance Armstrong, Cleveland Ferrell, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, and a slew of other guys. That's why Frankie Louvu was getting a lot of attention as a pass rusher this summer, and how we expect to use him as a pass rusher, not just because he's ultra talented and can do it, but it's almost like a necessity. So, in my honest opinion, I've always felt like that months ago. Go look at the archives when we talk about Trey Hendrickson. I said, Washington's going to trade for him by the trade deadline. And today, yesterday I should say rather, it came out that they are finally listening to trade offers for Trey Hendrickson. And remember, the reason that I felt like, okay, it may not happen was because of the asking price originally. And originally it was something along the lines of maybe like a first round pick and some other things. And a lot of teams probably weren't interested in that because Trey Hendrickson is 30 plus years old. He is going to be wanting a new contract. So you're kind of doing three things that you typically don't want to do as an organization. You don't want to invest a lot of money into a 30-plus-year-old player, although Trey Hendrickson is a part of the anomaly, because it seems like every year he gets better, in my opinion, because he had 17 and a half sacks the last 2 seasons. So age doesn't seem to affect him too much, but you still have to pay him a lot of money, and then you would still have to give up a lot of draft picks, I should say, to get Trey Hendrickson here. But as time has gone on, and unlike Washington and Terry McLaurin, where it seems like things are trending in the right direction, Trey Hendrickson and Cincinnati are still far apart in a deal, right? He didn't even show up to camp, right, a few weeks ago, right? When Terry McLaurin showed up to camp, Trey Hendrickson was still in Florida, right? So they are far apart on a deal, and it doesn't seem like a deal is going to get done as they're listening to trade offers. And once you think about it, yesterday it came out that Washington is listing a player for trade. Now, it's not a player of a Trey Hendrickson caliber, Brian Robinson running back, but it is somebody that you can throw in a package deal and sweeten the deal. So once I saw Brian Robinson was actively available for trade, I saw Trey Hendrickson was available for trade. The Cincinnati Bengals are in town. We play them today, and I will be at the game. And make sure you call into the Command Extra post-game show after the game concludes to leave your thoughts on what we just watched so you can be in the video the next day to the Command Extra post-game show. We're back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Juan Gotti Command Extra post-game show is back for yet another season. Following each and every Washington Commanders game, call into the number 240-804-7327 to have your voice heard on the show. Win, lose, or draw, happy, upset, or mad, make sure you call into that number because I want to hear from you after every single game. Action-packed day today. I said, AP, get it done. If you don't get it done, at least check the temperature. You got Cincinnati in town. I'm sure their GM is here. Just talk to him. Just go see what's up. What is it going to take? What is it going to cost to get this deal potentially done? Now, in my honest and smart opinion, at least, and I could be wrong about this, but I honestly would wait until the trade deadline to trade Brian Robinson or even make actions for a trade of Trey Hendrickson. Because if you trade Brian Robinson now, his value isn't as high, right? But we know how first half of the season B-Rob is. And we know he's going to be really good to start the year, especially after hearing this news. And if he gets the opportunities, he's not going to take advantage. He's going to take full advantage of them, which could ultimately drive up his stock. Now, I don't want to make the mistake of falling into the Madden realm of putting packages together that I think favors the Washington Commanders. And you know how we do, right? We just throw out names and say, hey, they'll take them, right? Just go ahead and give them that. And it's like, nah, that ain't how that works. They got to agree on it as well. So I don't want to just continue to throw out names, but Brian Robinson is like the only name that I could truly think of that makes sense if we were involved in the player. Now, if we're just doing picks, that's different. But I would love to just throw Brian Robinson in that. Because, I mean, who's in their backfield, right? It's Chase Brown and a slew of other guys that I can't think of off the top of my head. And forgive me if I'm wrong, Cincinnati fans, that you might have a beast back there, but I think it's just Chase Brown and some other guys. Zach Moss is no longer there, I don't think, right? But anyways, more of the story is they could use a Brian Robinson. And they could have a nice 1-2 punch. The running game hasn't been the same since Joe Mixon's left. So, I mean, hey, why not? Would you give up a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson? That's the question. Because I do think it's still going to take something to get him up or to get him in Washington. Whether it's a 1, it's a 2, it's multiple 3s. It's going to take something, ladies and gentlemen. We can't just pull the wool over their eyes. It's going to take something because he is still a damn good player. I don't care if he's 31, 32. He's damn good. And we have not had a pass rusher that's 17 and a half sacks, I don't know, in a very long time, if ever, because I know RK was damn good, but like 17 and a half back-to-back years, bro. Come on now. And I've subscribed to the theory of I don't want to give up a lot for Trey Hendrickson, and this was a couple months ago when they first was asking about multiple first-round picks. But at the same time, I was like, 17 and a half sacks is a lot. But there's no different from getting 17 and a half sacks from one player and the whole team. That was my theory of why I didn't think we should give up a lot for him. But at the same time, though, y'all, and this is what I had to tell myself, it is 17 and a half sacks from one person. So imagine 17 and a half sacks from one person, adding on Frankie Louvu's 6, 7, 8, Von Miller's 4, 5, or 6. Hopefully the young fella Javonte Jean-Baptiste gets involved. The interior pressure picks up. Maybe Deron fall into a couple. Maybe Javon Kinlaw fall into a couple. It's different now that I think about it. Right? 17 and a half is crazy. So I'm very interested to see if Washington attempts to trade for him. But I'm going to go ahead and say it because I felt this way for a long time. I said at the trade deadline, this is before any of this happened. This just was my gut feeling and my intuition and me knowing a little bit about ball. Again, I'm not no expert, right? I'm just a fan at the end of the day. I don't claim to be this pro ball knower, but I just always felt like this was a perfect scenario for Washington. We need a pass rusher. We still do. You trade for him at a trade deadline that's halfway through the season, so you already know what you're lacking at that point. And maybe the value could go down a little bit. You got Marshawn Lattimore for what, a 3rd round pick, and I think you swapped 3rd round picks. I know it was a 3rd round pick involved, right? Last year around the trade deadline. So maybe the value will drop a little bit, and you can find a way to get a better deal for a trade. And then also think about it like this: you trade for him at the trade deadline. That is right in the middle of the season to where you're about to make your playoff push. So let's say Von Miller is still healthy at the time and he's been solid, but that allows Von Miller to stay truly healthy with you being able to still have a dominant force on that field. Because let's be real, I love Von Miller and he's 36, 37, but is it crazy to say he's our best pass rusher? Like outside of Frankie Louvu, I'm talking about actual defensive ends. Like, he may be our best pass rusher at the older age of 36. And that's bad, if you ask me. So, say for an example, you don't trade for Trey Hendrickson and you kind of have to rely on Von Miller a lot. That could lead to him not being ready for the postseason. And that's really why you traded for him. You know what I mean? Because he is an older guy. He's had injury history. Washington takes damn good care of their vets. Ags Von Miller, Ags Bobby Wagner, Ags Zach Ertz. They take damn good care of them. But it's a plan that's in place. And if a plan messes up, that can ultimately derail everything that you set out for a player. And this is just me throwing stuff at the board. But as we sit here in August, I honestly feel like Washington's pass rush outside of Von Miller, it's pretty... Frankie Louvu too. Outside of those two guys, it's pretty So I think we need this in the worst way. I think Cincinnati just needs to clean their hands with Trey Hendrickson because clearly they don't want to pay him. I don't know why. He is your best defensive player. You need a defense. So I don't know why they don't want to pay him. But send him to Washington. And the biggest derail of this season, in my opinion, if we're being completely honest, especially down the stretch where we got them NFC East games and into the postseason, it will be the pass rush if we don't address it more. We already did with Von Miller, but if we don't address it more, I think this could be the downfall of our season. That's the only negative thing that I still think lies on this roster, and we have an opportunity to kill that with trade for Trey Hendrickson at some point at the trade deadline. It doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. I think you do it right at the trade deadline, whether he's playing or not. Because at this rate, he may hold out up until that point. And if he does that, I think that plays into the favor of Washington. Because if he holds out the rest of the season up until the trade deadline, up until he gets traded, it's like, oh, we haven't seen him play this year. How do we know he's healthy? How do we know he's still the same? So that way, Washington could get a more favorable deal. If that's a hope, honestly speaking, I hope he sits out. I hope he does. And with our general manager, Adam Peters ain't gonna go like that. He gonna try his hand up until he can't no more, and then he gonna ultimately get a deal done if he feels like it's right. You know what I mean? So I say, AP, do you start it tonight? If you ain't already been in contact with Cincinnati in the past about Trey Hendrickson, start it tonight. We playing them tonight. They starters gonna be playing. Just see. Hey. Let me holler at you right quick. So, what's up with Trey Hendrickson? Y'all listening to Trey office phone? What's the asking price? Just start the conversation, right? You don't gotta offer him nothing now. You don't gotta finalize nothing now. Just check the temperature. Like, hey Slim, what's up with you? Like, how you good? Well, I see y'all want to trade Trey Hendrickson. Like, what's up? We got B-Rob back here. You do need a run game for Joe Burrow. We got a couple picks I could slide you. And again, the reason why I keep throwing up B-Rob is literally because he's the only person on this roster that nets us true value that we want to get rid of. There's some other guys that probably net us some value that we could involve in a trade, but we don't want to get rid of them. And again, we're not playing Madden. We're not just trading guys that aren't actively on the market. B-Rob is openly on the market for a trade, ladies and gentlemen. So stop playing Madden. Okay, don't just put up a favorable trade that is fair for Washington and not Cincinnati. And I don't even know if they want Brian Robinson, but I'm just throwing him in there because, again, he's open for trade. If they don't want Brian Robinson, then we're going to have to give him picks. And that's the question that I have for you. What picks are you willing to give up, or are you comfortable giving up? Because a lot of people have to understand this. We're no longer the team that needs all their draft picks. And I'm not saying this to tell you to like just trade every pick away, no. But you're going to have to make tough decisions like this because you're now a team that is contending for Super Bowls year in and year out. So you may have to give up that 28. You may have to give up that 30. You may have to give up that 56 or that 47. Something like that. Or that 76. Right? You might have to give up that kind of draft capital. And not to say it's not going to bother me, because of course you would love to have your picks. But if it's to get players that's going to help us win a Super Bowl, who's truly going to be like, dang, we really gave up that 31st. We really gave up that 26. When we hoisted that Lombardi the following year, who going to really be thinking about that Super Bowl? I mean that draft pick that we gave up. Come on, y'all. I'm telling you. We're a team that's competing for Lombardis. So we're pushing all the chips forward. So trading for Trey Hendrickson makes absolute perfect sense for the Washington Commanders. And I know Adam Peters, he's going to at least try. And that's all I want you to do. I can't guarantee it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen. It makes too much sense in the world. But I can't guarantee it. But all I can say is I know he's going to try. I know he is. And that's all I can ask for a GM. Because we've had GMs in the past that wouldn't even try. We would have notifications come down like, oh, this player's for a trade. And no, good and well, our team would not even be involved. I.e., Bobby Wagner, right? Like, we would never have signed a free agent, a guy like Bobby Wagner. I don't care if he's at the late stage of his career. Hell, we wouldn't even have signed Von Miller. Von Miller probably wouldn't have wanted to come here. Bobby Wagner probably wouldn't have wanted to come here. But still, the point is, we're in a position where we're now a franchise that people want to play for. You know what I mean? So you look at the team and you say, if I could say one big weakness for this team is pass rush. I know we're going to try to talk about the wide receiver depth and whatnot, but we got that fix coming. Terry McLaurin will be back soon. There's really no fix in sight. Unless Von Miller just is outstanding in his minimum snaps, or they plan on increasing his snaps, which I highly doubt is possible because they don't want him to be injured. They want to save him for the postseason. Can you imagine a pass rush filled with Trey Hendrickson, Von Miller, and Frankie Louvu? That's ultimate. That is the complete 180 in the span of 3 months. You go from having one of the worst pass rushing units in the NFL in terms of names, right? Again, I don't know who's going to actually have a really good season. Again, one of these young fellas could shock us. But how likely is that to be the case? Your pass rush ultimately turns into one of the better parts of your team, and you need that when you're playing a Philly, a Detroit, Atlanta, right? These NFC teams can run the hell out of the ball, man. And it ain't no ducking that bump. And also, pass rush. You need to get out to the quarterback. You need to get out to Jalen Hurts. You know he don't like pressure. You need to get out to Jared Goff. You know he don't like pressure. Right? So, if you serious about winning a Super Bowl, you need a pass rush, man. And that guy in Cincinnati, You ain't too shabby. Tell you that much. So go ahead and get it done, AP. Go ahead and get it done. But your man Juan Gotti banging the table and making a projection. No sources. This is just from the heart. Washington will trade for Trey Hendrickson by the trade deadline. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below in the comment section. As always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. On the road to 11,000 subscribers, so we greatly appreciate if you haven't reached that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Peace.
Never gave up ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a line.